This is the Grand Lucayan Resort. It has been a pivotal pillar within Grand Bahama's tourism industry for many decades. First as the Lucayan Beach Hotel, it has undergone a lot of ownership and management changes over the years. It was a beacon of hope for this island's tourism industry. That is until a series of hurricanes really put it out of business in many respects, also leaving the island's economy in doubt for a long time. But now, a glimmer of hope. Just recently, a heads of agreement was signed with the Concord Wilshire Group to purchase this resort, revitalizing a lot of hope and promise within this resort. Hello and welcome to On the Record. I'm your host, Jerome Sawyer. In this episode, we are going to revisit the events of May 15th here in Grand Bahama. We're going to talk to some of the residents about their hopes for this property and what it could mean for the island and its economy. And of course, we're going to talk to some of the key stakeholders helping to make this all happen. Stay with us. This episode from Grand Bahama begins on the other side of this spring. $827 million investment, 1,300 construction jobs and over 1,700 permanent jobs, 80% of which are promised to Bahamians. That's what the government is promising this resort and new development will deliver. With just hours to go before the signing of the actual heads of agreement, we decided to test the temperature of Grand Bahamians for another promise to revitalize, redevelop, and deliver on this property. 75-year-old Mary Williams is a staple in the straw market at the Port Lucayan marketplace. Famous in her own right, she's traveled as far as London representing the Bahamas and made countless media appearances. An Androsian, she's lived here for over 50 years. First of all, you got to tell me what this is you doing.
Okay, this is what we call Bahamian call it fana. Now today they call it bread basket. So this is silver top. This is only fine in the Bahamas. This is silver top. This here is
Only in the Bahamas.
that's Bahamian. This
Okay.
is the stalk. The tree there, the tree similar to that. You get the stalk from that. Now, what happens when they go in the forest and they get the silver top? They have to let it dry. I don't go in the forest to get it, I buy it.
Okay.
And then I get the stalk and I will strip this up and let it dry. Now that I'm making this, I bed this.
I feel it's damp.
I bed it because I'm sewing it with a little ice pick. And I don't want it to split up. Like that, so I make it soft.
Okay.
This is silver top.
Very nice. And only in the Bahamas we could get this.
You can only find
this in the Bahamas.
In the Bahamas. But I have some other stuff there if you want me to show you.
We can get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Before we get to that, so in a little while today, they're going to sign this agreement for the sale of of the Grand Lucayan, which is supposed to bring that back. Now, a lot of people have a lot of mixed emotions. How do you feel?
Oh boy, I wish you didn't ask me this question. But to tell you the truth, they claims to been selling it so many times. I have to see it.
Yeah.
That's how I feel right now. I don't know what to believe. But if it is so, I guess it will be something good.
And if it is so, if it happens, these are the types of things people are going to want to come for, eh?
Yeah, well, this is Bahamian. We have a lot of other stuff. Now, I don't really have a problem with the other people things, but you remember Ronnie Butler?
Uh-huh.
He
If
told
I
me, go
remember, of
back to the
course.
coconut tree.
Yes.
That's what I'm doing. This
So,
is indigenous, this Bahamian.
so I have to ask you, how have you been making it?
In the market,
Yeah.
well, I will be honest with you, I've been surviving to the grace of God. Business was very bad out here now for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2, 3 days, there is nothing. That's why I have so many things in my shop. But see, giving up is not a part of me. I believe that one day I'm not gonna have enough. So I don't let it really get to me because this is what it is. But this is the voice I have seen the straw market. I've been in it for all my life. This is the voice I've seen it.
The market is a mirror into the island's tourism sector. There are few patrons, and vendors wait patiently for the next sale. This is where we met Henry Clark, a stall owner and former casino worker at the now defunct Princess Casino. He transitioned here nearly 3 decades ago with the Princess shut down, and he needed another income source.
Mr. Clark, we're here just ahead of this event today for the signing for the sale of this hotel and the development. How do you feel about it? We're just hours away. What are you hoping will happen today?
Elated, very elated.
Mm-hmm.
Very elated. Things in Port Lucayan being down so long, Yeah, about 20 years now, things has been doing too well,
Mm-hmm.
And so just hoping, that things go well, in Port Lucayan. So everybody just hoping and praying that things be okay,
So I have to ask you, how have you been surviving? I remember when this area was bustling with people.
Yeah.
I remember when Freeport was vibrant. People will always say, "How are you surviving?"
Oh man, people have to take money from elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
To pay the bills, your pension funds and all that. They pay your bills, but just to survive. Then every month have to pay rent. Rent due. No tourists coming up here.
I from the time I've been in there, I just see one person.
Yeah. One person. Cruise ships coming, and then the people go elsewhere on the cruise ship. The bus take the people elsewhere.
So they don't even come here.
No. Except Portugal.
Yeah. Wow. So if this really takes off and this development happens, it's going to mean new life for this area.
Yeah. More life, more business, No more business, but you could pay your bills and all that, of course. You could pay your bills.
And the city of Freeport and Grand Bahama, I would think.
Yeah. And Grand Bahama.
Yeah.
Should be nice.
How long have you been in this business?
I've been here many years, since they closed Bahamas Princess Casino. I worked at Princess Casino about 31 years.
You work at that's the first hotel I stayed in when I came here.
Princess Casino, 31 years.
31 years.
Yeah.
And after that closed, you came here?
Yeah, I came here. And I've been through Dorian, Matthews, and hurricanes have been through.
But you're still here?
Yeah.
Grand Bahama is no less viable than any other tourism destination. While it offers vast ecotourism experiences, there's an authenticity to the people and landscape. P & Ray, a Nassau-based all-Bahamian clothing line for men, opened its doors the same day. Its owner is a Grand Bahama native who decided to expand his clothing line and locations into this market on a leap of faith. Store manager Sherry Bethel gave us the VIP tour just hours before the big announcement.
A little birdie told me this is your first day.
This is my first day. This is our first day opening of P & Roy.
Wow.
in Grand Bahama. We have a location also in Nassau.
Right.
Yes.
This is
and
really
all
nice.
Bahamian, yes.
So
all Bahamian brand.
These are really, really nice. So, I like shopping, I like things, so I can
Yes,
come back
things,
when I
yes.
have more time.
Okay, check this out. Well,
Nice.
not sick. And
Very
all
nice.
the different.
So tell me, why did you decide to come here? This is kind of risky when most people are not coming to Grand Bahama and definitely not coming to the port, but you decided to come. Why? Why?
Yes, we want the Bahamas to know that Grand Bahama is here, that we are here. We're not going anywhere, and we are open. We cannot just move away. We are open. And we have to be resilient, and we have to be here. We're making a statement to let you know we are alive and kicking and ready.
So this stuff, I'm sure, is going to be a big hit with tourists.
Yes. And locals as well.
And locals,
And
yeah.
locals
I'm a
as well.
Bahamian who likes
Yes,
Bahamian
who
stuff,
like,
yeah.
yes.
Very, very nice. Okay, good. And this is your first day. And ironically, it's the day when they're signing the agreement for the sale of the hotel. Are you excited about that?
Oh, we are excited. We
Yeah.
are excited. We were waiting for this. We were waiting for this now. I hope that we can now exhale right now.
You've been holding.
like we're holding. Yes, we're holding. And this, we were waiting for the hotel for a long time to open. And this here is hope. So, reality.
And I admire you for taking that risk, because a lot of people are holding back. A lot of people aren't sure, but you took the risk and opened on a day like today.
Yes, you have to be proactive.
Mm-hmm.
We are proactive, and we're ready for when the tourists come. And then don't forget, now we have the Newport cruise, the
Yes.
celebration, and hopefully some of that trickles down. And when they come here, they need to have something. They have to have stores open, and we have to have something for the tourists to look forward to.
When we come back, we're going to talk to some of those who helped broker the deal, including the Prime Minister. This is On the Record from Grand Bahama. We're back right after this. On May 15th, the Lighthouse Convention Centre, which ironically is one of the few facilities still open here at the resort, had standing room only. It was packed with supporters eager to hear about the details of this proposed signing of the Heads of Agreement. Now, would the government be able to deliver? They say that the devil is in the details. Well, we were about to find out.
There were a number of members of government and key stakeholders present at the packed Grand Lucayan Ballroom. The most anticipated message was that of Nate Sarang, president of Concord Wilshire, the US-based award-winning developer at the helm of the deal. Sarang shared a little on their background and, most importantly, their plans for the Grand Lucayan.
US-based real estate development company that's been around for over 30 years and held a successful track record through multiple investment cycles. We currently have offices in Atlanta, Los Angeles, Miami, and Phoenix, and we focus on residential, hotel, and mixed-use developments, along with large master plan communities throughout the US. Our company, unlike a lot of our competitors, is deep-rooted in values that go far beyond our balance sheet. At the core of all of our projects is one simple principle: the community comes first. We listen, we collaborate, and we design and build with the cities and the communities around our projects. And that's exactly why the Grand Lucayan was such a perfect fit for us. We're committed to being here besides you as your neighbors and partners to bring back tourism, jobs, and a strong economy to Freeport. But most importantly, to bring a lot of your Grand Bahamians back home. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to the new Grand Lucayan Resort and Village. developing here is really one powerful economic resort engine with 7 different integrated cylinders. I'll allow my team to go through each of these components with you in detail a little later, but in short, in order for us to ignite these different 7 cylinders, we need to control, finance, and integrate 7 different resort elements. First, a 35-acre cruise ship destination resort open to all cruise lines, local residents, and hotel guests. And second, a 25,000 square foot indoor and outdoor poolside casino. Third, a 350-key branded hotel, resort, and convention center. Fourth, a 120-unit timeshare residential resort. And fifth, the conversion of the existing Reef Golf Course to a 160-acre Greg Norman Championship Signature Golf Course. And by the way, Mr. Norman's very excited about that. The Bahamas holds a very special place in his heart. And 6, a 16-slip mega yacht marina accommodating up to 250-foot mega yachts. And finally, the 7th element is the integration of this entire village with the Port Lucayan Marketplace, which is owned by Bahama Land Investment and its principal, Mr. Peter Hunt, who's also acquiring Port Lucayan Marina, Yacht Club Marina, and associated uplands, which will also be part of this full integration.
We also hear from President of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, Ian Roll, who was brimming with excitement over the gravity of the deal for Grand Bahama.
I've seen many investors come to our shores. Some were good, more were not so good, and some were just plain ugly. But after spending time with Mr. Steve Sarang, after hearing his vision, seeing his track record, and feeling his passion, I realized something new. We needed a very good category for him. No pressure, Steve, no pressure. Steve is not just another developer. He is a rebuilder, a visionary, a man who sees not just what is, but what can be. And here at the Grand Bahama Port Authority, we are proud to partner with the government of the Bahamas and Steve's team on this journey forward. Because this right here is more than a transaction. This is a resurrection. This is a revival. This is a return to the promise of Freeport and Grand Bahama. This hotel property once served as an economic beacon, a hub of jobs, culture, and community, before the cool winds of Hurricane Matthew brought it to a standstill in 2016. But hear me now. What was broken is being rebuilt.
Chamber President Dylan Knowles spoke about the Chamber's role and his future development hopes.
Chamber is charged with the role of ensuring collaboration between the government, that is central, local, and quasi-local, and the business community for the betterment of commerce in the jurisdiction. And we take that role serious. So for those of you sitting here who are not chamber members, let me also put a plug for you. Don't get left behind in this. Okay? PM, I don't know what you did to Stephen and Peter, but they don't stop talking about you. So now that we've signed on the dotted line for this attraction, let me remind you a little bit of what my mother Iris always says to me as a little boy growing up. She said, Dylan, never expect a pat on the back when you did a good job. Know that you did a good job when they give you an even harder job to do next time. And PM, birds don't fly on one wing. So we need the matching airport to go with it.
With the ever-present theme of community, the energy in the ballroom was supercharged. And naturally, the Deputy Prime Minister was beaming with pride, congratulating the Prime Minister, stakeholders, and the island of Grand Bahama.
For today, we are standing on the edge of real tangible progress. And I want, therefore, to congratulate, firstly, Prime Minister Davis for his focused, progressive, and brave leadership. And may I also congratulate you, Mr. Sarang, and your family and your partners for your vision, your boldness and confidence in this resort, and in Grand Bahama Island, and in the Bahamas. I assure you that your confidence is well placed. The sale and redevelopment of the Grand Lucayan Resort is a strategic move that sets the foundation for long-term economic growth and revitalization. After our past experiences, we were not interested in a fast deal, but we were more determined to find the right deal. The one that delivers for the people of Grand Bahama. Retailers, straw vendors, taxi drivers, tour operators, creatives, hair braiders, and entrepreneurs alike. And that's why we took our time. That's why we were deliberate. And that's why today's announcement is more than just about property changing hands. This is about a brighter future taking shape. And already Grand Bahama's tourism numbers have turned in favor. We're at 11.6% in air arrivals ahead of last year as the fastest growing island in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That is a sign of regained momentum, and it's just the beginning. Come July, Carnival Celebration Key will open, bringing with it a surge of roughly 1 million visitors in 2025. This will more than double all of the arrivals we had last year. So Grand Bahama is also on a fast track to become the fastest growing cruise destination in the Bahamas, which will deliver in 2026 millions of passengers. So Grand Bahama, with this important backdrop and with this announcement today, it's safe to say that your ship has come in. A redeveloped Grand Lucayan Hotel and the surrounding areas is a key plank in the overall ecosystem of this island. With nearly $1 billion of new investment today, the project is intended to be redeveloped, as you have already seen and heard, as a first-class, world-class, not just a resort, but a world-class destination in and of itself. This will again bring hundreds of thousands of visitors to Grand Bahama, and let me say that tourism success isn't just measured by visitor statistics alone. It's about how many Bahamians benefit from that growth. And this revitalization is expected, therefore, to create hundreds of new jobs, as you've heard, to become a significant employer in the Northern Bahamas. And Grand Bahama, you have waited decades, and I ask you today to take your role at the center of this transformation on all fronts. You already have amazing wonders that we like to talk about in the Ministry of Tourism. This adds great value to Grand Bahama Island as a destination. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to sincerely thank the Honorable Philip Davis for being a business-friendly and investor-friendly Prime Minister. Please give him once more a round of applause. When we came to office, we sent a clear message to the world that Grand Bahama is open for business. Serious, responsible investors are paying attention. And we have been boasting about $2 billion of new foreign direct investments for Grand Bahama. I feel so proud to tell you today that we've increased it by 50% and we're now at $3 billion. We committed in our blueprints to change and we would recover, rebuild, and revolutionize, and today is the beginning of an incredible transformation. But I pause to thank and recognize the management and employees of the Grand Lucayan Resort for having held it together during very trying and uncertain times. You have always welcomed me home warmly and made me proud to call the Grand Lucayan our hotel. I thank Chairman Russell and the board, the Bahamas Investment Authority, the Director of Investments, the NEC, the Cabinet, Ministry of Finance, the Office of the Attorney General for their various roles. And I publicly commend the Honorable Ginger Moxie, Minister for Grand Bahama, for her leadership and her vision for this resort and for Grand Bahama, as she says, the events and entertainment capital of the Bahamas. We are seeing the consistent fight she gives and advocacy for Grand Bahama come to fruition. I ask you please to give her a round of applause. And if I didn't know better, I would think Pine Ridge was in the house. But we know the work is far from over. And we do take pride in having helped lay the groundwork and getting to this stage. And with patience and steady hands, we will transform the island of Grand Bahama. We are committed to the people, to the entrepreneurs, as I've said, and our Prime Minister, as you know, our Cabinet colleagues, the Tourism Development Corporation, the SPDC, the Bahamas Development Bank, all agencies of government stand ready, hand in hand, to ensure that we will empower Grand Bahama.
With the ever-present theme of community, the energy in the ballroom was supercharged. It was one thing to understand that a deal had been struck, but hearing in detail the plans for not just Grand Lucayan, but for the island of Grand Bahama. When we come back, we sit down with the man of the hour, Prime Minister Philip Davis. Stay with us. You're watching On the Record.
Ceremonial act, the developers, along with key government officials, participated in a groundbreaking ceremony. That was followed by a mock demolition. Amidst all of the celebrations, we tried to get some answers. We wanted to know what was next, what this all meant, possible timelines, and even press the Prime Minister for a purchase price.
During the continued celebrations, we caught up with the Minister for Grand Bahama, Ginger Moxie, to chat about what this means for her island.
Today was a significant day in the life of the country, but more importantly in the life of Grand Bahama for what it meant. In the moment that you sat on the stage and witnessed that signing, what was going through your mind? What were your emotions like on stage, considering all that has been happening up to this point?
Whew. Speechless. Speechless is all I can say, because you know the story. You know the story of Grand Bahama Island. You know the many hurricanes. You know the ones that came up south and came back to Grand Bahama Island. And people have suffered, you know. And the island, we've had our boom periods and we've had our bust periods. And the bust seemed to have lasted a long, long time. And so today, recognizing this Grand Lucayan property. Actually, I have a lot of history with this property because my family originally, all the way back in the day, this was the property of the Smiths, my family. And so to see that this property has gone through so many different phases, like Lucayan Beach over there, and then we had, Atlantic Beach here, and Radisson and Holiday Inn, and the various brands that were here. And there was some success times, successful periods, but we know that we've gone a while without. And to not have an operating casino, to have so many of the rooms that are closed right now, just the Lighthouse Point open, and recognizing that today is the day that finally the property is sold, so government no longer is carrying the cost, and recognizing also the organization that acquired it that has a heart for people, so that it's a good fit for us. They speak about community. They speak about giving back, and that's what I'm about. And so we're going to work closely together on those types of initiatives. But for the people, even when other things were happening on the island, and there's a lot of development happening right now, over 3 billion in investments. Grand Lucayan has always been that sore point, because we've had, we were close and then we weren't. But today was the day we delivered. And so, hats off to our Prime Minister, who's been guiding this process, to our Deputy Prime Minister, who's been involved in the process as well, our Director of Investments, who has, spent a lot of late nights, and of course, the team at the Ministry for Grand Bahama and the Grand Lucayan staff, because they are amazing. And one of the my portfolio items is relations with Grand Lucayan Resort. So I would have, traversed this property regularly, speaking with the staff, engaging with the staff, and they are a beautiful crew, and they've done well to actually upkeep the property, so that the investors who purchased today, they saw the potential of it, and they saw the beauty of our own people. And so, exciting times.
So let me ask you, I know the agreement has just been signed, but are you able to give any timelines as to when things will start to happen? We saw the beginning of the demolition of a building over there, but any dates or any timelines that you can give us on when things will begin to happen?
Okay, I know that the Prime Minister will probably speak more fully to that, but I can say that, we're just signing off on certain additional approvals, because it is a massive undertaking. It not only involves this property here, but it also involves the Port Lucayan Resort, the Port Lucayan, Marina, the golf courses. And so once that phase is completed with those approvals, it will start in 90 days. So that's the paperwork. That's the stuff that the back, behind the scenes stuff that needs to be done. But I'm pretty certain that, it's going to move very quickly.
So this is a Freeport-based property in that it sits in the heart of Freeport, but on the island of Grand Bahama. And often it is said Grand Bahama is so much more than Freeport. Well, I could say that. There you go. What potential is there for those other communities, the development of those communities, the people who work and live in those communities as well?
The thing about it is, I would say that this resort, from time immemorial, have had workers from all of those communities. So there's a time my mother worked here, and she would go, there was a bus that picked them up and brought them to the property, and that's going to continue with this property here. They're going to come from the east, they're going to come from the west, so it's going to benefit all of the people of Grand Bahama Island.
Soon after, the Deputy Prime Minister and Tourism Minister Chester Cooper sidebarred with us. He shared how he anticipates that this development is a key addition to the already developing ecosystem needed to boost the Grand Bahamian economy.
What was today like for you, knowing that Grand Bahama has been that thing that this government, consecutive governments, ministries have been trying to get back on track, but finally something tangible has come to fruition? What was today like for you?
It was exciting. It really was a day when you reflect on the people of Grand Bahama. All that they've been through over many, many decades, the ups and the downs and the recent tragedies. For me, I've been involved with this process now for about 3.5 years. So I've seen good days, I've seen very bad days, and I'm not about to look to the past. I'm looking to the future. This is an exciting opportunity for the people of Grand Bahama. This is a destination. It's exciting. We're already having a good momentum with tourism, with airlift, and of course cruise with Carnival Cruise Line, Celebration Key. So this is going to be a part of that ecosystem that's now going to cause Grand Bahama's economy to be even more sustainable and more resilient than it's ever been.
A lot of the success of this resort and this island is tied to that airport and the ability to bring the airlift and to accommodate the passengers, something that investors have sort of gawked at for a bit because of the concern with the airport. I know the Prime Minister mentioned it today, but how far along are you in really getting a deal for that airport to get Grand Bahamas Airport where it should be to accommodate the expected airlift?
So let me firstly disabuse the thought that that airport stops airlift. Airlift is up 11.6% against 2024. We're getting new airlift from Air Canada and WestJet, all coming very, very strong. The issue for Grand Bahama, like most of the Bahamas, is rooms. So I think this is the beginning of that renaissance where people will know there's the room availability at reasonable rates, and therefore they can bring flights. But I know the question you're asking, and I want to tell you that this is partly the driver for the redevelopment of the airport. You will hear more details soon, but let me tell you that with a development this size, the discussion on the airport came up very early, and this developer had some thoughts about the design, about the size, about all of these things that they wanted to contribute to. So now that we've closed the deal here, we have an opportunity to move forward and expedite that process even more. We have a deal already, as we've announced, and now that we've passed this phase, these two will work together harmoniously. And before this is completed, the airport will be open and operational. The brand new expanded version of the Grand Bahama International Airport.
Grand Bahamians, I'm sure, are happy to hear that. Now, what else is being looked at to even bolster this more? Because the reality is when people come to a resort, they're going to enjoy it, but there are more amenities. And the smaller businesses, I'm sure, tourism-related businesses are looking to see what is going to be in it for them. Are you already looking at just beyond this particular property and development?
So if we celebrated what was happening here today, we would look at opportunities on the golf course, around the marina, in the 3 hotel buildings, the residences and the condos. And if you think through what the needs are for small business, for the people of Grand Bahama, and we think about providing solutions for those needs, we will really be able to conceptualize the depth and the breadth of a development like this. This is more than a hotel, it's a destination. But let me tell you that as the Minister of Tourism, I've had occasion to study and experience the product here in Grand Bahama. There is no one resort development that's going to sustain and drive tourism here. All of it must work together. This is an important part of the ecosystem though. But when we look at the beaches in East Grand Bahama or the fly fishing flats, all of that form a part of what Grand Bahama Island has to offer. Or when we think about the conch salad in West End and swimming with the stingrays and everything else in between, or stopping at an authentic mom and pop shop in 8 Mile Rock are going to take away in Holmes's Rock. That's what tourists want. As a result of the airlift that's going to be generated by the strength of this development and the brand, there will be spill-off opportunities for short-term vacation rentals. After COVID, there are a lot of people who don't like living in big resorts. They're going to go into communities. We encourage community-based tourism, and I expect that this is going to be a great driver, not just for the destination being built here, but for all of these small communities from Sweetings Key all the way down to West End.
Final question. I noted that Port Lucayan, the Port Lucayan Marketplace, is included in this redevelopment, something that has been a sore point for a lot of people in the area. What are you looking forward to with the redevelopment of that area, and what will that mean to the overall tourism product as well?
You know, I got to restate that all of this must work together in harmony. And this is why I'm happy that this developer had the vision to ensure that that comes along. When you come to a destination and you go to a business meeting, you want to go shopping or a restaurant outside of the hotel, you want to take some real good gifts back home, you want to go to a place where you can get local art, music, experience the culture of the island. And Port Lucayan Marketplace, what was known to people who know Grand Bahama, offered that. So I expect there to be a redevelopment of that area as a part of this development to get those restaurants, the museums, the art, the culture, the creative artists can thrive there. You know, places you can go to and have your photo taken or your picture drawn right in the square. We ought to be able to have some of that done over there. It gives a place new life, and hopefully we'll get some rake and scrape artists out there on the sidewalk creating that vibe that you want to feel when you go to a high-end destination like Grand Bahama. This is a great day for Grand Bahama Island. The people have waited long enough. I hope that they will now go center stage and play a central role in every aspect of this development.
All right, Minister, thank you. You know, the musicians in Grand Bahama believe they own rake and scrape, right? All right, thank you very much.
The best rake and scrape, and I told the Prime Minister this, he's from Cat Island, the best rake and scrape I've ever heard was the Gerald Cash Primary in Jamaica Road.
Now you got a problem.
And just before we packed up, we had an opportunity to sit down with the man of the hour, Prime Minister Philip Davis. In this exclusive, he shared candid thoughts on the deal.
So, Prime Minister, in your remarks today, you talked about really this entire $827 million investment for Grand Bahama. What does that mean for this island for you?
Well, for me, it means the rebirth, the rebirth of Grand Bahama. It's not just the investment; it is the impact it will have, both direct and indirect, on this community, and it will be more from the vision that has been laid out. That is a conservative number, but we expect that it will be much more than 827 million.
And how does that translate? You know, it's $827 million. So people are asking, well, how much did the hotel go for? What was the sale price?
It's in many ways. First of all, it translates with the amount of business activity that will surround it, supported by the amount of persons who are going to work here. There'll be persons who will be able to pay their mortgage, buy a home, buy develop their own lives, and that is what this is all about. Attempting to give the Grand Bahamians and Bahamians who will move now to Grand Bahama the opportunity to have a fulfilling life.
Is it a financial loss to the government for what this hotel is going for, considering what the previous administration paid?
No, we are not. We think that we have done the right thing. I think what we're getting for this hotel, right, is a price that is perhaps more than it's truly worth. But again, now that the deal is closed, I can say that. The government has been losing $1.5 million each month, which means for the 3 years plus that we're in office, we have spent more than $60 million keeping this property alive. that bleeding has stopped. So those funds now could be used for other things, other social matters, other government services that require more attention from us. In the first place, we always thought that to buy the property was a bad decision. Not only bad, the price they paid for it, we thought was astronomical. Buying it after a hurricane, buying it after the owners would receive insurance for the damages done to the hotel, and then not taking those proceeds to reinvest in the property or to bring the properties back. Losing 1.5 million a month, it would have been easier for them to subsidize the property until they would have found a buyer. But they did not have the vision, I think, or the wherewithal to find and attract the buyer. And as was been mentioned by the Deputy Prime Minister, we just want to sell a property. We had many offers just to buy or pay something for it. We want to have the right partner, the right vision. And it took us about a year. We met the purchasers in December of 2022, I think it was, and we worked together to ensure that this is what is right for us, right for the Grand Bahamian, and right for the investor as well.
Are you at liberty to say what that purchase price was?
I wouldn't say it yet, but because we still have, we have anything. We know what the price is, but I would want to speak to it now.
All right, so now one of the big questions is about the airport and what is happening with the airport. It was a question that was raised by the Chamber of Commerce president to you. You said that you're not one about talk, but the airport is coming. The Grand Bahamians especially want to know the status of the airport and what's going to happen.
Well, I can say the conversation and the negotiations well advanced. Contractors have been identified. Funding has been identified. It's just a question of tying up all of the versions of those arrangements to ensure that Grand Bahama and its people benefit just as much as any investor or the loan company will be. And that is the whole. But I dare say within the next 3 weeks or so, more will be said about it.
All right.
And or during the budget debate.
Looking forward to hearing it. Final question. You had a lot of supporters and a lot of support in the room today. But one of the things that stuck with me at the end of your speech is you said, regardless of political affiliation, let's work together. Why was it important for you to say that for all Bahamians, Grand Bahamians to hear?
Well, I have found that politics has become so divisive over the years. And one of the things I would like my services country to do is to take some of the venom out of politics, try to allow people to appreciate that envy, jealousy, and the quest for power, right, has to be subordinate to the common good. That we need to work together to progress this country. I'm satisfied with what I have done. I'm satisfied that the country's on the right direction, but there's still a lot more work to do. That satisfaction comes about because we would not be where we are without the cooperation, collaboration of the Bahamian people. I've always had belief in the Bahamians, and they have come through for me to date, and I'm sure they'll come through again as we move forward.
Have your political opponents or those opposite spoken to you about this deal? Had any discussion, given any support?
Well, unfortunately, they remain doubters, I think. And they were invited to be here. Unfortunately, they didn't come because that last cry was to say, let's work together. This is something that they should be attempt to ensure it's become a success. Right? Where the credit lies is not the issue. It's the question is to make sure that this is successful for Grand Bahama, particularly, and at the end of it, to the wider Bahamian community.
Prime Minister, thank you very much. Congratulations on the deal again. Thank you very much. All right, sir.
And since our interview with the Prime Minister, that sale price has been announced at $120 million.
The next few months here in Grand Bahama are going to be critical. There are still a lot of unanswered questions about timelines, concessions, and what's next for this island. But let's keep in mind there are a lot of other developments happening here, including the all-important Carnival Celebration Quay set to open soon. But what is at stake here is really the keeping of a promise. With so many stop and start developments of the past, so many disappointments, all eyes are on this project. Whether the government is able to deliver on its word, we will wait and see. But for now, like so many others, we are hoping that the magic returns to the city and certainly to the larger community. This has been On the Record. I'm your host, Jerome Sawyer. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.